Projects.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dan. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks very much for joining us. It is another magnificent Monday, and it's good to be back in the chair. Surrounded with some great people. So if you're not online looking at us, where are we, DJ Lane? YouTube, Facebook, and all those places where you see a screen. I still like the radio, but join us because we have the one and the only Mr. Charlie Kirkconnell and three fantastic guests represent some three wonderful projects. We'll tell you about it. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome. Thanks very much for joining us, and as we invite you to be a part of the discussion, always a pleasure to welcome Mr. Charlie Kirkconnell, the CEO of Cayman Enterprise City. Hey, happy Easter. How are you, man?
very good. How are you?
Oh, excellent. Thanks again, man. Thanks not just for the the diligence and the persistence that you and your team have at CEC relative to continued innovation and providing that platform, but the community spirit and the outreach. As we get a chance to talk about the business design competition to see how it can touch and affect our lives in a very positive way. So thanks again, man.
Oh, this is the fun part for us.
This is where I think we often hear many hands make light work, but we don't appreciate how there is some hard work. There's consistency and diligence and dogged determination to make it happen. But before we invite our other guests, the business design competition, just a quick overview. How long has it been? What is it exactly? What's intended to do?
Okay, so this is our third year. So when we it's developed through the years and gotten better every year. And actually this year was we had the benefit of having added an incubator to our ecosystem last year on the heels of the business design competition. So we actually refocused the business design competition this year into being more about the validation, idea validation. But overall, what I would say about the business design competition is that it's part of our mission to develop a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. And the role of the business design competition and all of that is to provide an opportunity for people who have an idea, but maybe don't really know what to do with it or how to action it, how to get started, who to speak to, who might be able to help them, mentorship wise, and those sorts of things. Help progress from the idea stage to what we call the validation stage, and what that means is that to the stage where the idea has been tested. against whether it addresses a real world issue, or is it an imaginary issue that you have in your mind, something that bothers you but really isn't an issue for anyone else? Does your solution address a real problem? And then also to help you figure out whether it does it in an effective way. So really kind of coming through from I think I have a great idea to validating that you have a great idea. And that's the purpose. That's the purpose of the business design competition.
All right. Well, as we go around the table and have a chance to chat more, we'll come back to you in a bit and maybe ask about the process as well, how many we had this year relative to the last time, and then what's the way forward. But respectfully, Charlie, I'm excited to chat with our three guests, including Ms. Maggie Ebanks. We start with you first. I mean, project of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we were surprised. I feel like we were in that position that Charlie just mentioned. I mean, we had an idea, and that's basically what it was. It would come up in conversation. Two of our members are actually teachers. A lot of times it would piggyback off of the frustrations of their regular day and the things that they encounter at school. But none of us really knew in terms of what the next step was and who to speak to and how to just get that information. Is this idea something that can be something that turns into something? And that's just really what the business design competition did for us. It put us in the room with other people that had great business ideas to bounce stuff off of them. And then just other people that were able to give us advice and allow us to rub shoulders with people that we'd never met before.
Tell us a little bit about the project.
So our project is STOCK, Substitute Teachers of Cayman. And basically we're sort of want to be an independent platform that solves the teacher struggles of schools on island having to find substitute teachers. Basically, all schools find their substitute teachers and solve that problem in-house, which then just has an add-on effect of class disruption and teacher burnout. There's a big pool of retired teachers on island, and we feel that with gaining those and other people that have various teacher certifications, we can help solve that problem.
So is it more than just a data house? You know the teachers are here, and you have a spreadsheet with the contacts and you reach out to them. How does it work?
So it would basically be through an online platform, a website and application, where basically it would all be automated. We would have a teacher pool where basically they would be made up of retired teachers and teachers that have individuals that have the various certifications. And schools can log on. Schools can basically request the needs that they need, and they can be paired with the best individual that's suited for them.
We know in schools sometimes, especially in the world in which we live, things happen almost overnight, literally, sometimes even part-time for the day. How responsive? I mean, the school need to say, listen, coming up on March the 1st, 2025, we'll need a substitute, or you know what, it's midday, tomorrow morning we need somebody.
I think the idea would be to be as real time as possible. I think obviously we will have those add-on effects. Obviously, if you have a busy day and someone needs something at 12, but I think that's the idea, is to keep it as real time. I mean, a lot of the times it's just for the sake of avoiding the disruption and having an able body in that class to help sort of maintain that class versus pulling a teacher from another class. So we've definitely seen the need for it, and I don't even think, following going through school myself, I realized how big of a need it was until we started speaking to schools and seeing the numbers that they were turning out that they needed.
Right. Well, I want to maybe have you share as much as you want going on with Aaron Santa Maria. What the Innovation Award? I mean, innovation itself just sounds illustrious. Congrats, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, thank you. So the project is Quick Whip. It is a browser extension that brings support tools to all your support channels. So the idea kind of came from me working in the user support industry and kind of understanding the frustration of having to talk to hundreds of customers a day, saying the same thing over and over. So I wanted to figure out a way to bring the tools that are in these customer management platforms to all these other different channels. And Quip was the solution to that.
How does it work?
So right now we're currently in phase 1. So you would have like a bank of responses, common things you say to a lot of different customers. They ask you respond with A, and we store it in a database locally on your computer, so we don't look at your data. And then you can access that quickly and respond to the customer with that particular answer. So that is currently phase 1. Phase 2 coming up is we're looking at a Teams interface, so you can work with your coworkers and you can store your responses online and then sync with them.
Okay. Certainly want to hear more, because I was listening to, a bit of the press, and I thought, wow, something local source available that you can access immediately, just like with the teachers real time. But Steve Thomas, the Community Impact Award, I mean, anything that is, for the community, but if it has an impact, a positive way. Tell us about your project.
Thank you. My project is called Island Pet Co. It's a pet food company that's made sustainably in the Cayman Islands through use of local products that are available here, like local agriculture, as well as products that don't make it into processing into human products. So upcycling products that would be destined for landfills, using products available on island, as well as product brought in to complete the profile. But it was a real honor to get that award, to be able to design a project that's able to be a viable business and make impact in the community, from an environmental perspective. And I mean, we're all animal lovers. To be able to provide an amazing product for our pets, I think is a real, it checks all the boxes. It was a really cool project for me.
Oh, when you're looking at the products for our pets, are we talking food, supplies, toys, or is it specifically focus?
It's focused on food and treats. Yeah.
Okay. And then some of the things you said that would probably not be for the human sort of uptake, would probably end up in a landfill. What are some of those products that you would use that instead of going to the landfill would end up in the pet food?
I'm a meat industry professional, so I've worked for years in butcher shops and supermarkets, and I'm now working in the restaurant business, so I'm able to see the things that are, this is culinary capital of the Caribbean, so we are very crazy about food here, and I mean, to hold our food to such a high level, there's a lot of waste, and a lot of things that are great, wholesome, delicious products that are just not being utilized. So being in the industry, I've been able to see it firsthand, and I wanted to find a way to help, bring it to a better purpose.
So we're always seeing, even at our dinner tables, we'll have food and we may put it in the fridge as leftover. We may consciously do it, or we may end up forgetting it there and end up spoiling. So for the restaurants, then your team go out and get it, process it. How would
it's not. We don't want to. I mean, spoiled product. We're not talking about that.
No,
we're talking about like when you're trimming off something to make something a beautiful picture, and then the ends and bits of pieces that don't, won't be something that make it to a plate. While it's still fresh and wholesome, utilize it into something else immediately. So that's where we're going at with this spoiled product. We want no interest in that. We want to make it like wholesome, as fresh as possible, and engaging with the local agriculture as well. I mean, to get stuff that's made locally here on island, I think that's something that we all strive to grow.
All right. Well, Charlie, there's things that we can do when we do it together. So when we come back from the break, let's see how we can continue this partnership and maybe share a little bit more about each of the projects, the potential impact that they would have, not just for the bottom line, but for the community. All right, join us after the break.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money Transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any Multilink ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Talk today.
but I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and hopefully the community will continue to recognize if we support each other, if we draw alongside and provide the opportunities, whether it's through our time and counseling, helping to navigate, through our talent and inspiring, or through our treasure and investing. And Charlie, I think you and CEC epitomized, that sort of tripartite approach. So thanks again, and not just sponsoring the business design competition, but helping through internships, through growing the economy, seeing what it can be for such a small space, the incredible impact it can have.
Well, yeah, and I think it's within the context of all the things that we're trying to do. Our mission is to create the Cayman Islands as a globally significant hub for knowledge and technology-focused businesses. Mm-hmm. And there's no one thing that's going to do it. There's a series of smaller things that added together will make a very, very big difference. And we work very hard on a broad variety of these projects and do what we do our best to tie them together, make them coherent, and ultimately kind of raise the quality of everything that we do. And we're happy to say that we're really starting to see the impact of that now. We have been for a while, but really starting to see it lately. And it's very encouraging, as is the support that we get from the community.
Mm-hmm. And this is where I think we can see three very sort of disparate projects, but the impact that they can have, the ability for this community to harness the energies that are there. Steve, let's start back with you. You sharing with it. Cayman is without question the culinary capital of the Caribbean. Our foods are amazing. The restaurants are impressive, and even the simplest thing that you decide to take out, or you sit down for 5 course, it's satisfying. But help us then to appreciate your project, because waste what, want not, is the mantra of many of our parents.
Yeah, I was brought up that way, and when you work in the industry, you want to try to utilize as much as possible, specifically in the protein industry. There's animals that are being harvested, and we want to give them the maximum capacity to yield as much possible, right? So nothing goes to waste. That's how I was brought up. That's how we like to operate our business to be most effective. And this business gives us a real opportunity and outlet to solve that problem in a meaningful way, but also impact the pet owners of the Cayman Islands with a different option of something fresher, better, made by real professionals locally that can really, make their pets wag their tails. You know what I mean? So it's that's what's the most exciting part about it, because there's nothing available like that on island.
Yeah. How do you see it going from now? If you had your way, your vision was realized, what would it look like?
We're going to get the product on shelves, make it available to anybody who wants to have a higher quality product for their pets. So to see it forward, we'd like to see it on the shelves at the pet stores, at the supermarkets, and just make it easily available.
And the plans for the future, I mean, we're seeing in the pet market, I don't remember how large the industry is globally. You probably know that. I mean, it's
a $200 billion business globally.
Globally,
yeah.
It's I was checking and compared to how much money Charlie had in the bank, and it was almost as much.
If only.
No, it is significant, and then we're seeing differentiate in the market relative to almost human consumption. Tailoring this to the pets as you would for the human. Gluten-free and all these things. Scope for that as well in your.
Well, that's the benefit of. So we're talking more of a raw-based diet, right? As opposed to kibble or wet canned foods, right? So this would be a raw, natural type diet. And one of the significant benefits of going down that path is, if you have a pet with allergies, it's a lot less ingredients. It's
Yeah.
simple. You can understand the ingredients. You know where they're coming from. So, I mean, from an allergy perspective, for, picky eaters, or, you're just trying to really understand the nutrition of your pet to a significant way, just like you would yourself.
Mhm.
This gives pet owners an opportunity to do that. So.
This is it, man. I mean, many of us, our pets are not pets. They're, the firstborn, their family. And no longer is the dog named Spot. The dog is now Bob.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
what it is, man. But Aaron, to you, with respect to communications, many times, even sitting here, a word can be said and either misconstrued, misunderstood, misspoken. But with data and an organization, you need stuff real time. Tell us more about QuickLoop.
Yeah, so I think the goal of Quip is to increase efficiency. We want to kind of reduce the stress of the people working in these industries that are typing the same thing over and over. And that's the whole kind of purpose of it, right? That's the stress I went through, and I want to relieve that on every other agent out there with this application.
So we recognize way back when there were macros that we could even type in.
Yeah.
I mean, so how does that work in relation to this?
So it's similar to like a macro. Like I'm assuming you're seeing macros and like store the response into whatever application
Yeah,
you're using.
sorry.
Yeah, so that's it's
sometimes that Charlie tells me stuff and I know. He's like, "What is he talking about?"
I have no idea. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, it's a similar concept to macros, but I think the problem with macros is that I refer to them as customer management platforms.
Okay.
So those macros are stuck in one platform,
Uh-huh.
right? You have to go through everything through that one particular platform. But let's say you're running like an Instagram account, you're running a Twitter, you're having like a Reddit, like a community forum.
Uh-huh.
You can't bring those macros
Right.
from that application to those other support channels.
Right.
So that's the point of QuipQuip, is to take your responses and bring it everywhere you go. I like to think of it as like a tool belt, right? You want to take the tool belt to everywhere you're working. So responses are just the initial phase of it. We're thinking about other features to implement in the future to bring more support tools to these agents to make their lives easier.
So many times we sit at our desk, and I think back to long ago when you bought, let's say, a computer system with a software. It did what it said it did. It didn't do what you wanted it. You had to make it out. They finally got to the point where, hey, the end user is important. What do you need? And we design it for you. We built it for you.
Yeah.
So in this instance, I mean, the person sits at the desk or mobile somewhere under the coconut tree watching the waves go by. How does this work so that when they're using it, how easy, how efficient, do they need to do something specific, or is it automatic?
So my experience in that field kind of helps me build out the application, what it is. I'm currently working on getting the application security reviewed and then having like a user support team test it. So that's going to be a team of like 5 people or something like that. And I'm going to get feedback from them. So that's going to kind of help me mold the application directly for the end users of like what it should like and how it could be even better for their lives.
Do you see this being something that could go beyond our borders here in Cayman?
Yeah, I think the application can help any small to large business. So I initially kind of starting with smaller businesses. Like I want the application to have a free version because I want it to be accessible to smaller businesses. And then we're of course going to have a subscription version for larger support teams.
Kind of thinking, and help me to understand. It's almost like pen and paper, and we maybe call dinosaurs better children. But you think of an organization where that person, Miss Linda, she's been there for 50 years and she knows everything about every client, every former employee. In today's world, she would know everything on all the platforms. This is kind of like the Miss Lindas who you go to and you get the stuff, except you can carry it with you.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a Miss Linda. Maybe that's what we call it, QuickLoop.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no, I commend you, man. And I got a couple other things, but first, Mike, the idea of education and teachers, and you reference that there are many substitute teachers here in Cayman, except we don't call them, they're retired now. But the need and the growing need for schools. 2 quick questions. Would this be for all schools across the country, or government, or otherwise if they reach out and hey, they need something, or is it only for the private sector because of maybe the intricacies of the government system?
No, it would be for all. It would be for any participating school that wants to be on board.
Okay. At this stage, would we have to register? Because there's an online portal. You go in and you say, school A, we're going to need somebody to be able to cover this particular lesson for these days, or this school for this day.
So that's basically the stage we're in now. It's just starting to just figure out and sort of decide cost, setup, and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, once a school comes on as a participating school, they would obviously have a portal on the site. They would be able to go in. They would be able to see the available calendar that's there.
Okay. And then all of the the existing educators, would they register so that you would then have that resource to match?
So we would put out a registration where basically any retired teacher, any individual, as we know, there may be individuals that are certified as teachers that are working in other professions. And our next final step is we're getting in front of basically the education department just to find out the certification and narrow down the certification needed to teach and be in front of schools. Because there may be individuals that are looking for flex work, maybe individuals that aren't working, that are looking for part-time work, that if they can get the necessary certifications, they can also sign up to be a part of the teacher pool.
And this is, as you were saying, I'm thinking increasingly, those who are retired as semi-retired, they have so much more to contribute. They just don't want that thing that they had for 40 years prior, maybe a couple of weeks out of the year.
Right, and that's the beauty of it. I know the current platform is, I think that they hire supply workers for a certain period of time, but this would allow a person to say, well, I'm available on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or maybe January and February I'm available because March and April I just want to relax or I'm traveling.
Right.
So we really want to get down to it being as flex as it can. And that's just where we see that we'd be able to do something different than what's currently being done now.
And not even to get into logistics, but I think many of us who don't understand, we drop our children to school and the teachers are there, and when we come back the teachers are there and we think, do they sleep there? Yeah, actually, no, they don't. They have a life as well. There are things that happen in their lives unexpected. There's training that they want to do. Their vacations are not only the school vacations, there are a lot of other things that may happen. So this could have to complement, not unlike the business of the accounting firm or the law firm.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it firsthand. 2 of our team members, like I said, are teachers currently in the government school program. I think they're at school before the sun comes up and they're there after the sun goes down. So that would be the bigger goal, is to, the more that we can reduce that teacher burnout, trying to get teachers that, I think we'll all be knowing that teachers will always go above and beyond, but the more that we can have them having their normal life and normal time available to them is always a benefit.
I commend you for that. It's, very innovative, and I'm sure there are many going, why did I think of that? And they did, but they just didn't pursue the same diligence and passion that the 3 of you did.
Well, that's where the business design competition came in. So it brought it from an idea on a Friday night to be able to do something with it.
See that, Charlie? I thought only Don Rose happened on Friday nights. But this is, perfect as we go into the break to commend you again, because without, this platform, this incentive, it's not just the money, but it's the training, the mentoring, the process of helping to navigate. Many an entrepreneur will sit idly and just be thinking constantly, but never get from, paper to product, as it were. As we go into the break, what sort of things you want us to think on as we think about the break and when we come back? Maybe talk more about it.
Well, I mean, as far as the role of the business design competition, it is to give that framework. And it's been, as I mentioned earlier, this is our 3rd year, and it's evolved every year to be more focused on the needs of people at the idea stage, and how can we best help progress that idea into something that's real, into something that will ultimately become a business.
All right. When we come back, I'm going to talk more, hopefully ask each of, our wonderful guests more information to share on their particular venture. And then Charlie, talk to us a bit more about other things CEC has in the calendar. All right, join us after the break.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we are introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
The Cayman Pharmacy Group provides you with more than just prescriptions. We strive to make your health our concern. We recognize the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care. That is why we offer personalized one-on-one counseling. Our pharmacists are here to assist you with questions you may have about your health and the medications you've been prescribed. With West Bay Pharmacy and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, the Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. We care about your health.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome, and thanks for joining us. And thanks again. If he doesn't mind me, singing his praises and commending him, Charlie Kirkconnell, you inspire, man. I mean, Big Sister Bridget would be proud, man. Even if she doesn't say it, as a kid, man. No, but this is why I say that is that we often hear, at least in the Cayman context, to whom much is given, much is required, and it's so important that we give of our time, our talent, our treasure to invest, and it's not just the bottom line as measured by how much money we banked or what capital we've been able to raise. It's about growing in the next group of entrepreneurs, of seeding that capital to other ventures. And I think what you're doing is commendable.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man. I wanted to ask as we go in, and we got 13 minutes, DJ Lane? All right, I'll squeeze 12 and a half. Steve, again back to you. We see this process, and it is an amazing process. I don't say that lightly. I recognize through travel and through friends who've lived and worked elsewhere that sometimes, even an artist would like to get an exhibit and don't even know where the gallery is, doesn't know, sometimes where the resource. But in Cayman, everything is accessible. People are there to help and to guide for the most part. But during this project and the competition, any particular things that struck you, maybe surprising, pleasant or unpleasant?
Well, just on the topic of resources, I think this competition, although it was a competitive thing, it was also a workshop. I mean, they put a lot of effort and thought into providing resources to help you no matter what you were doing. I mean, there was a broad spectrum of projects in this competition, but there was workshops on, public speaking, on working on your pitch, on working on your validation of your project and your ideas. So I think that and they were bringing in a wealth of knowledge and expertise from different areas of Cayman Enterprise City and making them available. So that was a real, something I didn't expect. I was really surprised by it, impressed by it, inspired by it. Some of the speakers actually spoke so well, and I have an entrepreneurial spirit, but I mean it already, but there's some of the things and some of the people I've met are just truly inspiring and really want me to give me the push to go further with it.
Iron sharpens iron, tell us. So Aaron, from that perspective, any particular thing likewise that was surprising, whether pleasant or otherwise?
Yeah. I think everything you said completely. I agree with all of that. It's great. Also, just everyone's idea. You come into this thing and you think, oh, I got a great idea, and then you're like, okay, everyone else has also a really good idea, and then that's great to be able to talk with other people and see their project and where it's going, and it's great.
And seeing, I think as Tom, Steve shared the idea that you're in this competition, but there are other people who are not just vying for the coveted prize, but their energy, enthusiasm, that entrepreneurial spirit, they want this thing to get off the ground as well. Yeah. Does that motivate you?
Of course, definitely, right? Like you want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals to kind of help force you to work hard and work better. For sure, definitely.
Maggie, you're competitive by nature. I mean, everything you do, you do to win, you succeed. But you have, if I may be allowed to share with you, you have this giving, winning, loving spirit. An educator almost at heart, through and through. You don't only want to win on the field, you want to win in life, but you want to bring other people along. That seems to be your personal ethos.
Yeah, but I think the funny thing is after day one, it became so much less about that for us. Agreeing with what both of them said, we were blown away, by day one in terms of the resources that they were giving us. And we moved quickly away from, well, if we don't win, there's so much wealth that we've gained from it, and even just sort of being that sort of step to what to do next. I mean, the biggest appreciation was, I think, while obviously there were so much great ideas and so many great people, allowing everyone to sort of have that open, raw, and vulnerable state and learn from our postures, the way that we spoke, so the way that our voice went up and down, and everyone had improvement on different levels. So I think that's just, I think everyone in there was, competitive by nature, but I think it quickly became less about the award and the prize, and more just about the takeaways that we all get. I think was something that we just couldn't really put any value to.
Steve picked up on Maggie's point. It's easier, I think, when you're the spectator in the stand of 100,000 to look on the pitch, and there's the first 11, and come on guys, the ball is round, chase it, kick it. I mean, you should know what to do. But when you're on the field, whether it's the glaring sun or the afternoon sun, or whether it's the lights because it's bright, it's from the spectator to the player. What do you say to those who are outside looking in, going, get up, do something?
I think we all go through our day-to-days thinking of a great idea, and then don't bring it to, we talk to our friends about this awesome idea or this concept or a product or anything it is. This is a real opportunity to stop talking about it and start doing. And I think that's the real, real prize of this competition is, we all had something in our minds, and now we can show you a product. And
so you got sort of the idea, now you have the support, you have excellent training. What helps you to get from this stage now where significant hurdles have been overcome to that next stage that takes you to the future stages?
You talking about with our projects?
Yeah.
This was a concept competition, like a business design concept. So now it's time to make it like a real thing. So take it to the level of investment of, putting together a proper business plan and being able to present to investors to try and raise capital and make it act like really real. And that's one of the Charlie mentioned before, this business incubator program. It's the next phase of this. I think to be able to take the concept now that has been proven and validated. We're all sitting around the tables, we all won awards for it. So now to take this award-winning concept and work with continue. We're really grateful to have that even available to take it on and make a viable business plan that we can hit the streets with. And
I'm going to ask Aaron, but first, to make it viable now, we see in larger jurisdictions, in larger markets where the idea comes, maybe they float, and they raise venture capital. For you, what would that take in terms of capital, investment, resources to get it to fruition?
Well, that's the part we have to work through now. What is the number? What do you need in equipment? What do you need in space and people and all this and branding and marketing and all these things? These are the things that all have to be worked out through in our business plan and be able to pitch to investors.
All right. Yeah. And for you, Aaron, what would it take?
Exactly what Steve said. Yeah. As part of the next step is launch labs and figuring out what exactly we do need.
And Charlie, that's it. The deadline, I think, it's August. But tell them what launch labs.
So it'll be interesting to see because we've been using the name Launch Labs for the incubator, but as we move forward and we refine and we develop, Launch Labs is actually going to become the entire kind of pipeline, if you will, business design competition, incubator, angel investor network. So I'll say Launch Labs, but what I'm really talking about is the incubator. That's a 12-week program that kicks off again, second iteration in August of this year. Where the application window is open. So I encourage anybody who has a validated business idea, that's the beginning point. If you have an idea but it's not yet validated, business design competition is the program for you. If you have a validated business idea, please visit enterprisecayman.ky. And you can submit your application for registration into our incubator. again, kicks off in late August, and it's a 12-week program that is designed to help you progress from the idea validation stage to the investment-ready stage.
If you ever been in business, having that sort of hand-holding is invaluable. I think many of us, I think Steve, you alluded to it many times, don't appreciate how important that is in this Cayman context.
Most people have to do this on their own, and with no resources at all, just from their family and the people in their own personal networks. And this is an opportunity to do it with people and resources well beyond our network. So it's really cool.
And even with the resources, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work and dedication to put in the effort to get this stuff done. So the resources are great, but it's work.
It's work. This is it, and that was the last question I was asked. So Aaron said it right. It's a lot of work. Whether you're working full time, on something else for your own or for somebody else, or whether you're, there constantly in the entrepreneur nature. So a lot of work. For you and for your two colleagues, what does that work look like going forward? What's the expectation?
I think for the four of us, it's just really just honing down on a calendar, getting a timeline, setting points, setting targets to meet, making time available, making sacrifices. That's the other thing that we've really realized with this process is it's to take time and stuff to grow. There is a level of sacrifice involved, and just being realistic. So just being real with our targets and having their set action points, and being able to go into the program in the fall with actually sort of viable information that we can get further advice on.
So hopefully by fall, then our schools might be able to start accessing.
Well, I think our next step is to do the Launch Labs program.
Jeez,
and take it from there.
I know schools are looking, because schools do struggle with, substitute teachers and getting that supply. Okay, Charlie, final words, man. And again, thanks for providing this platform and this support. Closing thoughts, my friend?
Yep. If you have a validated business idea, please send us in your entry. Only 10 projects can make it into the incubator, but we'd like to, as many people as might be interested in being part of the initiative. Please enter, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, we have a quick comment, and I know the answer, but I'll ask you.
Sure.
Age, is there a minimum age? What's the age to be a part of this?
I think we 18 plus. Yeah, 18 or 18 and over would be. I think, and it makes sense from the point of view of what can you absorb and put into practice.
And the legalities sometimes of contract obligations, the age of majority. So you might be precocious at a 12-year-old, but we'll see. All right. So 18 and above, curly hair, green eyes works.
In fact, that'll put you at the front of the class.
There you go. Always has. Again, thanks to each of you, and continue the persistence and the perseverance, man. You never know what you'll achieve, as long as you keep trying. Charlie, thanks. Looking forward to next month, maybe having you on board. We have a chat and see where it takes us.
Absolutely.
All right. Going to pause and take a break, as I was off. Mr. McKeever Bush, I reached out and said he was going to come on today at 1. I don't hear any bells clanging, so maybe he's still here. We'll see. If not, it'll be open line. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman, the voice, the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Government looks for bidders to upgrade the Old Man Bay Seaside Park in Northside. A post on the Bonfire Hub procurement website asks for a, quote, fixed and firm price to construct a bathroom and office space, along with office furniture, an electrical room, sanitary fittings, and handicap access. The tender closes on May 9th. In international headlines, rising sports star Phil Dowdell has been named as one of the victims in a mass shooting at a teenager's birthday party in Alabama over the weekend. At least 4 people between the ages of 17 and 23 were killed at the party in the small city of Dadeville on Saturday. 28 more were injured, authorities said, some of them critically. Police have not said whether a suspect is in custody, but the city's local pastor told the BBC the gunman was still at large and urged him to turn himself in. U.S. taxpayers who called the Internal Revenue Service had an average wait time of 4 minutes this tax season compared to 27 minutes a year earlier. That according to the agency today. Ahead of the tax filing deadline on Tuesday, the IRS is promoting its improved customer service and giving credit to a big boost in funding provided by the Inflation Reduction Act that Democrats pushed through Congress last year. The federal tax collector today reported a dramatic turnaround for the 2023 tax season from a year ago, when the agency scored its worst customer service marks on record. IRS employees this tax season have answered 2 million more calls and served 100,000 more taxpayers in person, it reported. The agency also digitized 80 times more paper forms than in 2022 and cleared the backlog of unprocessed 2022 individual tax returns. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
HSA's cardiology clinic is now located at Smith Road Medical Center. Our cardiology team provides expert care and treatment for heart conditions such as coronary artery disease, heart failure, arrhythmias, hypertension, congenital heart diseases, among others. The new location offers state-of-the-art cardiac diagnostic testing, including echocardiograms, ECGs, and stress tests. To contact, call 949-8600. At HSA, your heart matters to us.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Hinton Roxroy Conley was born in Creek, Cayman Brac on the 9th of September 1937. The second of 8 children born to Henry Kitchener Conley and Olive Conley, fondly known as Big H to his family and friends. Like so many other Caymanian boys and men, young Hinton went to sea at the tender age of 17, working with national bulk carriers for 5 years. During his tenure at sea, Hinton sailed on many different ships, namely the Ulysses, Old Titan, St. Clair, Petrolor, Petra Sea, and Petra King. He sailed between Portland, Maine to Venezuela. Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. And we had scheduled and hoped he was on last Wednesday with us talking about his motion before the Legislative Assembly. The grandfather of the House, longest serving member, Mr. McKeever Bush. Hopefully his schedule will still allow. We have still some time from his asked to come in, and if he does, always good to be able to learn about what's happening in our Legislative Assembly. Speak to our serving parliamentarians, hopefully not just to encourage more of us to pay attention to what unfolds in our hallowed halls, but to be able to recognize and respect almost seemingly that unfettered access that we have, something that we shouldn't take for granted in such a small community. In saying that, I quickly recognize that the discussion just prior about the CEC's business design competition, the notion that in Cayman you have an ideal, you need to find out something. The community can gel quite easily, and many, and in particular those who may have had experience living or working in other places, can see the wonderful access, resource and landscape that we have in Cayman. Perhaps more of us that have been here longer need to recognize that, appreciate, and make the most of it to ensure that continues, for all and sundry. Well, it was good to have a couple of days off. Got a few things done that I had planned. I want to say publicly how grateful I am to both of our colleagues, Kathy and Ray, for being so willing to step up and host, each the 2 days last week, and that allowed me to take a couple of days for myself. You don't always do what you want to do, and sometimes you just got to do what you have to do. Maybe one day we'll have the courage to pursue and let our, feet take us where our heart necessarily would like to be. But until then, we perhaps just continue. Well, what is on your mind? 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-32621 and share your thoughts with us. It's truly an honor, a distinct pleasure to be able to sit and facilitate our discussions. Hopefully to encourage more of us to give thought to what we want to say, be courageous to share it, to be inspired by our actions of others, to be willing through our own thoughts and actions to inspire others to appreciate that if we do in fact live in a democracy, then it's important to not only test that democracy, but by so doing champion the space in order that others will feel, similarly empowered, and to recognize that the freedoms that we have, we shouldn't take for granted. The freedom to assemble and perhaps, through a petition and protest. And it doesn't have to be negative nor vitriolic. It doesn't have to be any semblance of violence or the like. I think the not only the words but actions of Dr. Martin Luther King, that's through his very presence and being, publicly demonstrating that you can bring about just causes, bring about attention to things that need, positive correction. You can have a meaningful impact on the lives of others if you're willing to stand in the gap and lead by example. Well, sometimes it starts with a thought. Sometimes it starts with, sharing a thought with others. 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free with the compliments of Flow, 1-800-534-8255. Now, over there at Easter break, a couple of things were very evident. Many of us didn't do things that we traditionally, would have done, and perhaps some would say, well, ever since 2020, our mind's not there. And ever since 2020, the health, because of the loss, not just the financial loss, not just that, sinking feeling of doom and gloom, but the physical loss of the people who have passed, and making it perhaps increasingly more and more challenging for us to embrace life. And as hard as that is, perhaps we need to draw a little bit closer and a little bit more deeply and lovingly alongside those that are still in our lives, to encourage and support, to nurture, to shoulder sometimes, and to help them appreciate that there's still much work to be done. And that work isn't necessarily just physical. That work is the work of, as some would say, kingdom building, but it's also the work of enjoying things. I got a chance to be a part of a presentation. I'll share with you just quickly. It wasn't scheduled. It was to have transpired long before, and things being what they were. Sometimes, we see things happening and go, oh, that's a coincidence. Well, maybe it was ordained. The individual shared, you got to have a number of things that propel you to success. You got to be disciplined without a question. You got to, work hard, work smart. You got to put in the time and the effort. You got to, study, self-develop. You got to do those things. You got to be prepared to make the necessary sacrifice. Simple examples: you have a presentation the next morning, or you have an exam. You might want to heed the advice of parents or co-workers or the teacher, like, try to get a decent night's rest. Try not to wind yourself up too much. Whatever you do, even if you're nervous and a bit sort of concerned about what the outcome would be, and you're not able to sleep, at least don't stay up all night, doing things that may only contribute to making it harder to focus the next day. But in addition to all of that, something that I think many of us forget, do we work hard enough at enjoying life? Do we take time to get away? Do we take time to appreciate our success? Do we take time to share, a time with others, those closest around us? And we often hear it, perhaps more now than ever, this idea of a work-life balance. And for many of us, there isn't such a thing. And that's an incredible, almost Herculean effort on our part to find time for ourselves, to enjoy the people around us, to embrace them, to sometimes just sit quiet and maybe think, reflect, perhaps even to read something. I know for some of us, we're not even sure we know how to read anymore because it's read to us by an audiobook or otherwise, or it's some, one-eyed monster on the screen looking back and, popping heads, bobbling back and forth, uttering different things. But how many times are we conscious to be still and quiet, whether it's through prayer and meditation, whether it's consciousness of just being still? And then with that, are we enjoying it? We complained when everybody was under house arrest and the beaches were off limit, when we were all sort of given a little release. You can get out for 2 hours and run about the place, but only in this area. But now that we have the freedom to do it, do we do it? Now that we recognize that we were missing it, do we appreciate it much now that we not only embrace it, but we do all we can to protect it? Earth Day comes up every April, and many of us make a big production of it, only because of lip service or the possible positioning as you could do, for profit margins. But are there really any meaningful, genuine intent in our endeavors? I think to the fantastic groups within their communities, from the good folks at the West Bay Beautification Committee to Miss Charlene and all the others like Miss Amira and the like, who ensure that across the entire country that people are concerned about the cleanliness of our roadways, the constant instruction through not only their advice but their action, that we shouldn't litter. We all know it, but we don't seem to employ it. If we take, for instance, and he has said much, and I think many, as I've heard up until this morning, commend the Honourable Tourism Minister for his forthrightness in saying to people, this is nasty. Let's not be dumping our cars about the place. Let's dispose of them where they need to be disposed of and in the proper way. Let's not abandon our vehicles along the side of the roads, but yet the practice continues and an area is cleaned up, whether it's a coordinated effort between community members and DEH and the like, and in short order, it's there again. How many of us live in areas where we drive through and it's presumably a nice, quiet residential area, but it's becoming heavily industrial, with cars being littered because maybe there's a collector, for want of a better word, of parts who has served as the repository for junk cars to be assembled. Maybe it's a working garage. Maybe it's just a space where people feel, this is as good as any. Let's just leave the cars here, and someone sees one, and then there's 10. And then before you know it, the road becomes a hazard to navigate. And it's all on us because we leave it, and maybe we're polite. Well, some are offended by comments, some are offended by inaction. As long as it causes us to do something proper, hey, let's act. We'll pause, take a break, and when we come back, more talk today.
Here at Savannah Pharmacy, our pharmacists do a lot more than just count out your pills and fill prescriptions. They undergo extensive education in the study of how the human body uses and responds to medicine. They have also built up years of experience in real-life counseling on how to take medication safely. Our pharmacists are on the front lines in keeping our society healthy. Don't risk it or hesitate. Contact us or schedule a consultation with one of our pharmacists today. At Savannah Pharmacy, we care about your health.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce. All piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Wednesday, April 26th is World Intellectual Property Day. It's a time to celebrate our creative minds, from musicians, songwriters, and authors to inventors, designers, painters, and so much more. Did you know that their creations, just like yours, can be protected by a patent, trademark, or copyright? Find out how to register and protect your intellectual property today. Visit the Cayman Islands Intellectual Property Office website at ciipo.ky for more information. That's ciipo.ky. It's your innovation, your creation, and your intellectual property. Protect it today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. If you didn't know, you would think it was a Monday. Well, check the calendar. It might just be. Well, we had the honor to go to our phones and welcome our caller. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Not too bad. If I knew you were coming back to work today, I would have sent a chocolate to deliver some chocolate for you, but you don't tell us anything. You got people calling me. You got people stopping me in the stores. What happened to Sterling? Why are you not on the radio?
Yeah, I
think you need to notify your people when you're leaving that station.
Yeah,
me.
Thank you. Let me apologize. I have a friend who made me realize that, as giving and caring and loving and nurturing as I may want to be, I don't share, brother. I don't tell too much about my stuff, and I don't know.
All you have to say is just off for 10 days, 5 days. That's all you have to say.
You know, I thought actually I did do that when I was leaving. But I didn't do it sufficiently. I did it just quickly in passing. Maybe I'll make a note, and I guess part of it too is not just hey, let me take it on board and see if I can do better. All right.
That's a job. Everybody misses you.
Oh, well, it's a good thing.
You got to understand my voice because I don't know what he asked me about you for after hours.
Well, maybe you know what? I may need someone to help help me navigate a better path, so I should, if I could, maybe I could afford to hire you. Well, I hope you had a good Easter.
Yeah, I did a lot of luck around the yard, I look like a chocolate myself. I'm too burned out, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, I wish I had got a little more sun myself, But yeah, it was interesting how we take time off to do work.
Yeah. But I was talking to Mr. Connor this morning, and sometimes, at home, came in. And, Sterling, up here on, this is a highway that we call, Crichton Boulevard. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
As you get onto the Crichton Boulevard coming from east, the left-hand side, about 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes driving on the left-hand side, someone came there and dropped off an engine or some type of, I don't know, car, boat, or what the heck it is. But there's this humongous engine sitting on the side in the bush with the rope still sitting on it, and about 2 pieces of the parts are thrown down on the ground, and a piece from of a car or something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But to see that somebody could have got that distance with that and throw it up there and couldn't take it to where it had to go. So all of these are things that just eats me out to know that even if it's my people, they do not have this island at heart in no capacity. Because for someone to stop up there and throw that off of what they had that on, had to be a truck or a trunk of a car, and pulled out a piece of rope and left the rope tied on it, and there's a camera on the corner of the road. You want to tell me that someone never see something?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really getting out of hand. It really getting out of hand on this island. And when I see things on the road, you know what I say? Oh, you say, man, you clean it up. You want island clean? You clean it up. I had my grandchildren, my 2 grandchildren boys with me last week because Easter school closed. And when I picked up one is 9, and almost 9, and the other one, he's 4, almost 5. And when I picked up the little 4-year-old one, I had a 9-year-old in my car. He had some Easter candies, and he was there talking to his cousin and, sharing them and so forth. And he said, you know what we do down there, my papa? We pick up garbage. He said, I just can't understand why people throw the garbage on the roads and people's yards and stuff. Why people do that, Granny? I said, because they're nasty and it doesn't love their country. A 4-year-old boy telling me that his grandfather picks up the garbage wherever they see garbage. And that grandfather is Mr. Mike Adams, and I know what my grandson is telling me. It is so true. While I was working in my yard during the holidays, these 2 young ladies crossed, and whatever they were eating, there's a drain in the middle of the road now right in front of my house where they come here starting to work and not finish yet. And the 2 ladies, young ladies, high school young ladies, and they had something in their hand, took it and threw it towards the drain. And I said, Miss, that is to catch the water, not to keep the road from overflowing. I mean, I have a garbage bin. If you care to use it, you're more than free to. And she didn't pick it up, but she said sorry. But this is what happened to our drains. They are throwing whatever they got in their hands to can get into the drain. And then we got the guys with the blowers blowing stuff in the drains. And then we got the people who smoke cigarettes at location, stand by the drain and throw them into the drains. That's not what the drains are for. And then when we do not try to keep our island safe and from drowning, these people are pulling up with the garbage. I do not understand the love that they have for this island, but there's no love, Ellen. What is wrong with people? And my own people are getting to seem to be in the same category, and it needs to be stopped one way or the other. And how it's going to be stopped, I don't know. And like I told Mr. Connor this morning, I said, oh, see, our government, if they're going to be part of this island, call themselves working for the people of this island, why can't they do what they're supposed to do to keep their people in a job, help them with a problem, and so forth? You understand? Because if you're going to put a person in a department and that person cannot do anything in that department because they rather have someone in office who seems to be a bit higher than a government official that run that business, what's the purpose of putting those people in these places if they cannot override who is supposed to override? Why is it that you got them there and who's sitting in there now can override, but the government official cannot override? But they override who they want to override for, and that is our problem here on this island. And the other day my girlfriend went up to the bank up here and with her sister and decided she wanted to go to the restroom. You know what the bank security tell her? We don't have any restrooms for for the public. Like, excuse me, the restrooms are only for the staff at the bank. I've heard a gentleman call you some time ago in regards to a restroom too at somewhere they went at a pizza place and they were having a problem trying to find a restroom to use. And I said, why are we having these businesses and there's no restroom for the public to use when they come to these places? You understand? And I don't know why planning would pass those things, put up a restroom for the public and their staff.
But as you were sharing too, it is seemingly we have maybe just generally saying sometimes we'll enforce things in one instance but not in another when they look similar, and perhaps that may make people who don't really have a full understanding of what is happening ask whether it's discretion being exercised or whether it's something else. And to your point, if you have a food service business or the like, should the same criteria apply across the board for everyone? Should it be a case of trying to help facilitate the business, make sure that the food is prepared in a safe, hygienic way, but without it being all this bureaucratic red tape that helps to make it more difficult for businesses to function? I have the question sometimes as you're sharing, are we doing things out of spite, or are we trying to deliberately promote and assist?
Well, I'm not going to even try to answer that, because right now, Sterling, with everything happening in this country, we just can't seem to get the right answer. Or if we do get a right answer, it is always someone to shoot us down with the right answer to help make things a little bit more smoother and more comfortable for the few humanity that we have left in this island. And Sterling, these investors you see coming here building up this island, let me tell you something. From what I can see and hear and gather, if we do not turn into a third world country in the next 5 years, I change my name. If I'm alive, and I hope that I'm alive. God, please let me be alive. Please, Lord, please. But I want to witness.
Well, I pray to God continue to bless you indeed with health and strength.
And Sterling, if these people continue doing what they're doing, these people who is investing, they're going to sell out what they have here in Cayman and move on and go elsewhere. You know who's going to buy them out? It's going to be a few Caymanians and Jamaicans. It's going to be the Pakistanians, it's going to be the Indians, and every other nationality that can come from abroad and buy what's already built. They don't have to build anything. The building's already there. Yeah. These investors are going to pull out eventually because in Cayman is not looking healthy when it comes to beautification. We got stuff piled up here and there. We got cars that not running. Tenants got to move off the road the other day, and they're parking right back up there. They do not enforce these things. They do not keep a check on these things. They got cars driving around with no bumpers in the front, no bumpers in the back, and all that as well. And where's the police officers? Who is the government working for? For us.
Yeah, I was as you were speaking, I was looking at a couple of comments from our listeners, and they were very much agreeing with you, but some sent pictures. Hopefully, I'm looking at it correctly. One is on Elizabeth Street, which I think that's in West Bay.
I drove that a couple days ago.
And this picture shows, just cars, and the comment is, some of the cars are derelict, and some of the cars look like, their potential could be roadworthy, right? But it's congested. The road was the concern of this person. Another picture looks like somewhere in the industrial park area, without a caption. Now, these are three different individuals sending different pictures.
You should get on Sparker Drive. Oh boy.
Okay, well that may be from the warehouses and stuff in the background that I just zoomed in. But the point that all of them are making is not only is it unsightly and perhaps unsafe, but is it also a road hazard? And the third person in commenting you for you shared is asking, well, who is in quotations at fault, and then slash who's responsible, and ask the question, well, what is it that we do to stop this behavior? Is it police enforcement? Is the question is asked. Is it a special task force and part of perhaps the tourism ministry? Is it under planning? Is it Department of Environmental Health? Is it that yes ma'am?
We all need to come together. All of those names you just call out, including homeowners. We all need to come together and see that these things are being done, because the nice thing about hiding behind the veil in the coconut tree and talking about it and not coming up and face it and get a committee going to make sure these things can stop it. But then again, you have someone that may pop up in the government and go and talk to the owners of certain things, and what happens? It goes right back down on the ground again, and you walk on it until you go back and you try to fix it and work on it again. It's the government is our problem half the time, not the sister's government. Lots of them. You go try to do something to better this island, they go and complain to the government. No, this can't be done. And don't pay them no mind. And this is how it's supposed to be. Listen to me, Sterling. We need to stop all of this will come, what this one wants and what don't want. The government, they got to be driving. They got to be in that helicopter early evening going home in early morning, because if they can't see what's going on in Cayman, they are totally blind to this country. And in that planning department, I understand and I have seen a few trailers around here cutting doors and windows. And how the planning approved these containers on this island as a living quarters for people to live in. Like what I see that is up in the dump road for years, that people are living in up there in the dump road, got some trailers up there fixed up and living in. We are heading for a third world country, because Sterling, the government, immigration is giving out status to person who's been here for so and so many years, and they cannot accommodate their own, working hard enough to get an own home or buy an apartment or whatever the case may be. Well, we can say, you know what? We have given you status, but it seems that you cannot gain anything as the living quarters in this island. I'm sorry, but no trailers. You have to go back to your country. You want to come and visit and go, you make it down. But do not turn our country into a third world country, because it is heading there. And our young people is getting set up. Mr. Mario Ebon said something this morning on OC Show. People better take heed. They better take heed.
Well, is it then, maybe if you have time, I want to ask, when you say the government, are you meaning...
all day time for you.
Thank you. You mean the elected government or the appointed government in terms of the civil service when you say government? Just for people who are listening.
I am talking about the elected government. They need to put the foot down more. They need to finish what other governments started and start coming with their new plans and leaving the old plans out there and not being done. Look at Sound Road. Look at 7 Mile Stretch Road that is so bumpy and so bad, mashing up your front end, and much more roads, including my road I live on. They came and tore up 1 year ago in the Primrose in Newlands. Can you imagine? Primrose in Newlands? I haven't seen that man drive around unless he is unidentified when he's driving in to see what this community looks like.
Well, maybe he's so busy, right, that he doesn't even get home much. That's one.
No. They knock on the door that they could get an answer from throughout this whole island. No more door knocking. And you know what I heard about the politicians? They do not when they're insulting you on air. Because I know a very intelligent woman called the radio station just last week from West Bay. And I am not pleased how she was handled on that radio station. But I know everybody who I'm talking about. Was very disrespectful. I don't care what the minister or whoever said. She was very, very disrespectful on that radio. Because I said, top the pot and butter for fish. That's why they want Cayman to be like in Cayman here. Top the pot and butter for fish. Well, I don't play that kind of game. Like I told Mr. O.C. the other day when I had a call back. I said, Mr. Connor, I am not here to stir up anything, but I say this top the pot and butter for fish. What I was just told is uneducational to me, because I never heard it before. So don't even about come and tell me that this is how it runs when you're supposed to be in a higher position in that office. You're supposed to be able to run things and say what is right, what's wrong, what should be, what shouldn't be. Who's sitting in the office who have no more higher authority? You have the higher authority. You that just signed to that business, to that company as a part of the government. And they say that they're here for the people that put all these politicians say they're here for their people that put them in. They are working for their people. I don't think so. They work for who they want to work for.
Yeah, I want to share.
Tell me,
Yeah, so I want to share with you a couple of other messages that you have inspired. A handful of people have, shared similarly when it comes to derelict vehicles. One individual say, living in a particular apartment complex, and it's difficult because the other owners, I'm paraphrasing, I want to be polite, but in sharing with the people who have the cars there, it only leads to confrontation. When they've called the police to say, hey, what can we do? They say, well, you can pay to get it removed, but you can't remove it if it's not your vehicle. And if you want to remove, it's a fee, not a fee that some are willing to pay. Some may find it costly. But there seems to be a challenge from what this person is sharing, that on private property, like in this apartment complex, they have a challenge trying to get it removed legally. Without it being an issue.
I believe it.
One listener says, Finch Drive in West Bay, certain parts of Bordentown, and just in the homes of people across the country, we're seeing what look like, abandoned derelict vehicles. This other individual shares that it's a community problem, and maybe if we look at it and address it, it may be a small thing that could have a significant impact. But the question is, how do you do that? In that last comment, the person said, you can't go in, presumably you can't go into somebody's yard, private yard, and say, okay, this is an abandoned vehicle, you have to remove it. Or can you,
Sterling, you know how someone's problem gets solved? You get put it in town on this island. We need it in town. And Sterling, I blame planning department for letting people take their private homes and rent them out and have nowhere for the people to park. I don't care about them renting their places, but you make sure that when I ready to move, I ain't gonna rent no car to cross. When I know that I got the right to go straight, and cars are parked on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. These owners of these homes, planning need to come out and put some restriction on them. If you're going to rent your place, you should have a certain permit for that, and you make sure you got space for your people to park comfortable and not using the public road. The public road is to be driven on, not to be stopping and going and stopping and going and crossing this one out and crossing that one out. And believe me, you get some of my skin, so you ever have to pay no more than that. Planning is half the blame for what's happening in Cayman. Planning on the government, not just government alone, but all of the government.
If
the government is adding fluid to the fire.
With respect to your comment that planning is, in what way? I mean, how do you...
planning is fault to this?
Yeah.
Let me give an example. My piece of property, right, is 125, going in 125 both ways, right? I got a 2-bedroom house on my property. I got all this property in my backyard that something could be built back there. Check with planning about putting to divide that piece of my property to give my daughter to build something. Planning come back and say, oh, it's low density. This whole island is low density if I know what low density means. And it's not going to be low right now. I think I'm being after that degree. So now, if you want to build something onto your house, then you have add it to the roof of your house, and then make it a pathway, and then they can put the roads on whatever. That is wrong. I didn't want nobody touching my roof because I do not want problem my roof in my house, and then I had to go fix the roof. And while they're trying to build a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom in my backyard, planning can't approve that for me to divide my property. To give my daughter, which a piece of property. The land is so big here, it's just sitting there. Got to cut the grass there, and every time I try to plant something, the dogs and cats and chickens come to dig it out. But it's okay to live like that in here, in your own little environment.
Well, as you're sharing it, what I'm hearing is then perhaps we need to rethink not only our housing density, but are we by default maybe encouraging illegal substandard housing and building in order to help people either because of their lack of funds or otherwise. But then is it possible that we could still embrace maybe new methods your reference earlier with the trailers, I think many would have two immediate competing thoughts. Definitely agree with you. Don't want any kind of unsafe structures that not only unsightly, perhaps not as sensible in terms of habitation, but by the same token.
In Sterling, the thing with the safe, for example, regardless of what community you may be in, regardless of what condition your home is in, that doesn't mean that you got a piece of property next door and drop 2 trailers on it, one for your workers and one for you and your family,
right?
And then devalue the whole area.
Right.
Let me tell you something, if that happened in my community, I burn my house down and go northward for it.
Yeah.
And I burn the house down on you.
Yeah.
I can tell
you you are right in sharing concerns in terms of the safety, but then things like those container trailers we're seeing because of attempts at providing more accessible, affordable accommodation, that there are innovative things that can be had. The question is the country doing it in a way to be sensible, or are they responding? As an example,
they're looking population. That's a looking population, and if this is what population going to bring Sterling, it is foolishness. It is ludicrous. It's uncalled for, because then, if you know you're coming from a country, and you're coming from a country that you was just barely surviving in, and you come to this beautiful Cayman Island, enjoying every moment of it, drinking all the honey and drinking all the milk and all the Pepsi, throw that in and eating the pizza, and you can tell me you want to put a container in my neighborhood or on my island?
Yeah.
No, man. You come here to better yourself, and you can't better yourself, and you got Cayman status, government, and immigration say, you know what? You cannot afford a house in the Cayman Islands. You need to go back to your country and make Cayman your visiting spot, and you will live in a hotel or a rental, we call them again, bed and breakfast.
Right. You're wrong.
Put our foot down.
Yeah. Your comments certainly should raise, certain thoughts in people in that, think back to just recently. We heard it from the construction sector, the hospitality sector, that they were having a housing crisis for their workers that were coming on a work permit. But seemingly it wasn't a problem or an issue of concern for the local population. If we're going to look at, and again to your point, the issue of cost of housing, affordability, accessibility, the cost of living, are we considering the impact not only of an increased population, but as some have shared, if we have people who we bring to the country, we pay them salaries that are some would say unconscionable or artificially low, does that impact the society in a very negative way? Would it be better to as well?
And I cut you, but you know what? This thing about people going home and roll over and coming back, and they can find a job just for the little. But they got the average person here in the office doing their work. Majority of their work, they may do a little bit overseas, depending on what type of work it is, if it can be done on a computer, and they're still getting a salary overseas. That needs to be stopped. If you go home and roll over, that rollover should be set for 5 years. No 1 year situation here. Because the Caymanians will never get a job. And the Caymanians can be trained. But we have no system here who wants to train the Caymanians. They prefer to send them to Northwood for a sticky ganja and pulling a knife on somebody, which I do agree with pulling a knife or a gun on anybody. But they want to throw our Caymanians in Northwood. It's easier to feed them in Northwood. It's easier to give them medical and vision and dental and a meal and a shelter when night come and day come. That's how they feel about the Caymanians. From Northwood for 5 years. When they come back out, you know what they say? My Northwood was so good, I go and get in trouble again and go back Northwood. Because they never gain nothing from Northwood. They don't have a home. They don't have a piece of property. They half the time they can't get a job. We are not working on our Caymanian people or young generation hard enough. And until we can work on our Caymanians, it will never get no better. We got beautiful schools. We got teachers getting big vocal salary. And the parents and the children, it's not functioning the way it should function. The children need to learn that they want an education too. Because if the kids don't want an education, the system is wasting their time and their parents. They need to find something else to put them into.
Right. Well, I always appreciate it. Hey, thank you very much for that. Okay. And you take care. Enjoy your afternoon. As we go into the break, just quickly, listener says, the caller is so right. Listener shares, looking at the planning agenda for April the 12th, 2023. So there was an after the fact application where an addition was added to a home without planning permission. The letters from the objectives spoke of how run down the place was, including no parking, no garbage areas, etc. The objectives in the letters suggested that they breached the law. The people should be prosecuted for their actions. The objectives stated that the owners do not even live on island and have several other places in the same rundown bad conditions. All right, let's pause, take that break, and join our callers. Please stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a 3-year hiatus, Junior Badabinu is back.
Look where we reach again.
That's right, the streets of Georgetown will come alive on Saturday, April 22nd, when Junior Badabinu will present colorful costumes with this year's theme, A Hearing Drums.
Look where we reach again.
The Family Fun Day will start at 2 p.m. with food, face painting, and much more. It's going to be a whole heap of fun for the entire family. Junior Badabinu Street Parade begins at 4 p.m. on Saturday from the lawns of the Glass House. Winds through the street of Georgetown and returns to the Glass House for the big finale and awards for the best Junior Badabinu bands. Come celebrate the juniors' unforgettable memories this Saturday at Junior Badabinu Street Parade. Sponsored by Cayman National, Saxon, Cayman Airways, Pepsi, RBC, the Department of Tourism, and Radio Cayman.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britke. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Attention all runners and walkers. It's time to lace up your shoes and join us for our annual Deputy Governor's 5K Challenge Run Walk event. Whether you are a seasoned runner or just looking for a fun way to get some exercise, this event is for you. Join us on April 16th in Cayman Brac and April 30th in Grand Cayman. Do something good for your body and have some fun while supporting our local community. Proceeds benefit Loud Silent Voices, the Cayman Islands Red Cross, and the United Against Bullying Foundation. The DG's 5K could not happen without support from our platinum sponsor, Appleby, and gold sponsors, Butterfield, Credit Union, DART, Davenport Development, EY, and our halfway point sponsor, Cynical. $25 for adults and $10 for kids 17 and under. Register at www.racecaribbean.net. Don't miss out on this opportunity to have fun, get fit, and support our community. See you at the start line.
Radio Cayman News.
Pled not guilty to the 2 charges he faces.
They discussed the new Cayman Brac High School, recommending a short list of options.
There was a significant increase in road fatalities in 2022.
3-time Carifta Athletics gold medalist believes she was unfairly treated by the local athletics association.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to our callers. It is open line. Let's go straight to the phones. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sterling. It's been a long time since I called you, but I heard that lady calling on the phone about all this stuff going on, and I thought I'd jump in and say a couple of words myself.
Thank you for doing that, sir.
One of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know if they're short of inspectors or what it is, but down in West Bay there, before you get to the four-way stop in West Bay, you look behind, or before you get to Tortuga, shop is on the left, and then they're building these like a two or 3-story apartments or condominiums, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They got a big Australian pine just outside the road border.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the corner of that building, I don't think it's more than 10 feet from the edge of the road. Now, I want to know who gave permission for them to build that there, if the inspector didn't report it or what it is. But it's a crying shame, the violations of building code that I see now, and I don't know why they're doing it, because we need to stand up, because you can ruin Cayman if you don't take care of business. Mm-hmm. We got apartments, I see down here behind, next to the Wharf restaurant. It's been there 3 years now. I think going on 3 years they've been there. This big thing about a Hyatt Regency or some hotel or something. It's been there, and it says 80% sold, but it's not out of the ground yet. And I'm wondering what's happening to our island when things like that can happen, because it doesn't look good. It's not good for us, because people see things and they talk. And I think if you don't watch it, if you see a recession hit us, which I believe is going to happen before the end of April, we are going to be in deep trouble. Government has to stop and think about letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry come here who got a couple of $1 billion to build, and then you let them alone, and we don't have enough inspectors, enough people to go around and check things. The other thing that I want to report is this. I know for a fact there are people here who are getting the NAU funds for apartments and stuff like that, that when nobody's looking, they got 2 or 3 of the country people in there living with them, and they're taking money from them to pay, to give them the occupant. But I don't know if the government knows that is going on. These things have to stop. You have to have people in there that goes around and get an inspection once a month. You go in and look at these places and find out what's going on, because we I don't know what we're thinking. It's like, I love this country. I love our island. I love everything that's going on here. But, I love the island, but I don't like all the stuff I see going on now, because we are going to destroy the atmosphere of what tourists like. I've spoken to tourists. I go by the government beach every week, sometimes 50 times. I sit out there and I catch some sunshine. I talk. Sometimes I take my guitar and I play songs and stuff. But I speak with people there who foreign nationals that come here, been coming here for donkey years. And they're upset. They're not happy that what they see going on with all the people that come here from Timbuktu. Nobody. I'm not sure the government knows all the people who are living here, because I think a lot of them come in on little boats in the night, and their friends pick them up, and then they go and hide. And Lord Jesus help us. I pray to God every day. Believe me, I pray to God about our situation. And the Bible plainly says that the love of money, when we start focusing on money, we can be in trouble. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And I would love to see all the churches in Cayman get together and start like a regular thing where they get together and pray and give God thanks and all the stuff too. We need something to happen in Cayman because we got people here now that they don't care about anything but money and whatever they get. They see the crime is going up. I forget how many robberies they had recently. I don't know. I love Jesus. I love God. I love this island. But we have to stop and think. Because if we don't, we can ruin the island for everybody. Because poor people can't make, back in 1976, 72, when I was working with Doucette, poor men were making $8.50 an hour. Today, they're getting $6.50. What can you buy with $6.50? They've ignored the poor. They're bringing in the cheap labor from Timbuktu because they let the greedy people that do these things to get away with it. And nobody seems to care, thinking that, oh, I get my big salary in government and I'm okay. See, my friend, God help us if we don't stop and think. Because, like I said, before the end of April, you ever say? Before the end of April.
Well, this is April now, right?
There's going to be a worldwide recession. Okay?
All right, man. Well,
so we better stop and think.
Thank you for sharing and listening. You too, sir. You too. All right, let's take one more before the news. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Stan.
Hey, good afternoon, man. How are you?
Yeah, man. It's good to hear you back.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's really good to be back.
Yeah, the lady there, she did a good job while you were gone, but still, your voice steals the show, so.
Oh, man. I tell you what, boy, flattered to get you everywhere. Hey, thanks, man. No.
Well, I tell you, I'm not gonna try to put the comfort to the fool's heart. So.
Oh man, I'm glad that we have a good team here.
Yeah, good to laugh, man. Listen to what our lady was saying, my friend there, and the gentleman. The thing that what boils down to the whole situation is the Cayman Islands don't have no zoning in our areas when it comes to building or anything of such. That is what created the problem from the beginning, and will continue to be the problem throughout until they come up with the fact of zoning. I just wish that our Cayman Islands government will go back to the old immigration system and become like New Zealand. If you study New Zealand, Sterling, New Zealand has a policy right across the board. You can visit New Zealand, but you cannot visit New Zealand to work. That is where the Cayman Islands should take note from and be an example as New Zealand, because when you come into this country, you come here, you come as a visitor, you leave as a visitor. You don't come here in 6 months and you got your PR or whatever. It is unsafe for the country and unfair to the people. We are here struggling in our country. Now, Sterling, listen to this. Marine sector took away our fish. The DOE came in after, which is still marine sector, and they went to the lands and take our fowl and our cat. And now the water authority come along and they take our water. Now it leaves Cayman Brac, we are feral. Now we become the feral on this country. In this country, they're killing us slowly now because they can't feed us water. We're having a water issue here on the Brac now. We're water authority. They can come out and they can broadcast on the news or whatever, televised, whatever, weekly on Friday, and lie to the people. But lies doesn't cover people in need for water. And right now there's a bad mess here on the Brac with people needing water, has to wait a week in order to get their water. What this country is coming to is because, Sterling, the people puts the wrong individuals in power. And when they get there, Sterling, I've said it many times before, they don't remember me, they don't remember you. But 4 years come around, they come right back to my door, and they come right back. They're not coming to my door. but they might come to yours, and I hope you'll be like me and run them away. But what I'm saying is, they go to people's doors and they try to be this comfort into a fool's heart again, to lie to the people and tell them, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. They're not doing nothing for us. They have never did.
My friend, we're going to news break. Would you want to hang on and we can continue? We can talk more about the water issue.
Yeah, I'll hold on.
All right. If you want us to call us back, I'll call you back. That's, let them know. I will pause and take the news. When you come back, we get informed if we listen. If we ask questions, we may learn. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
Cayman records $4 million worth of seized and recovered drugs in 2022. That's according to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service annual crime and traffic statistical report. Nearly 2,915 pounds of ganja with a conservative estimated street value of just over 2.9 million CI. There were 16 seizures of a pound or more up to just over 940 pounds and 6 occasions when 150 pounds was seized. In international headlines, the Minnesota Court of Appeals today upheld former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's second-degree murder conviction in the killing of George Floyd, and his 22.5-year sentence remains in place. Chauvin's attorney had asked the appeals court to throw out the ex-officer's convictions for a long list of reasons, including the massive pretrial publicity. He also argued that legal and procedural errors deprived Chauvin of a fair trial, but the three-panel judge sided with prosecutors who said Chauvin got a fair trial and a just sentence. Top diplomats from the Group of 7 wealthy democracies vowed a tough stance on China's increasing threats to Taiwan and on North Korea's unchecked tests of long-range missiles, while building momentum on ways to boost support for Ukraine and punish Russia for its invasion. Russia's war in Ukraine consumed much of the agenda today for the envoys, who were gathered in a Japanese hot spring resort town for talks meant to pave the way for action by G7 leaders when they meet next month in Hiroshima. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
Cayman Queens. Your nails say everything about you without saying a word. The Nail Palace, upstairs, Tropical Plaza, Smith Road. Turning manicures, acrylics, pedicures into an art. Nails are not about being noticed. They're about being remembered. Book your appointment today, 526-1217, or visit them on Instagram, Nail Palace 345. The Nail Palace, upstairs, Tropical Plaza on Smith Road. Great nails don't happen by chance. They happen by appointment. The Nail Palace, 526-1217.
Things come up. That's life. But it doesn't mean I can't show up. From a runny nose, stubbed toes, to earache woes, headaches, backaches, and tummy aches. When things come up, Best Health Pharmacy over-the-counter solutions get you back in the game. Best Health Pharmacy, located at Crown Square Plaza on Eastern Avenue, across from Edie's Decor. Best Health Pharmacy, your health, your convenience is their priority. Best Health Pharmacy also offers free prescription delivery anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. Call 949-1301 or WhatsApp your prescription to 924-5358.
Ro Variety, centrally located in Tropical Plaza on Smith Road, carrying a wide range of household items, bathroom accessories, towels, clocks, handbags, clothes, shoes, jewelry, and more, and more, and more. You can buy from the big box retailers or support local. The better deals come from shopping local. Ro Variety Store, Tropical Plaza, Smith Road. Telephone 924-9553.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Freedom, Cayman Rock. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating?
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger licking good.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And respectfully, my friend, thank you for your patience for holding on. I guess it just shows the excellent, professionalism and dedication of our fantastic sales team and the phenomenal reach of Radio Cayman. So thanks to our advertisers for having that confidence in us. But thank you too, man, for being so patient. Welcome back, right? Thanks for holding on.
Yeah, man, no problem, Sterling. Yeah, I don't know what's going to take place around here, because the whole issue is people have to wait 6 days in order for the water. I don't know how people got hold it out, because the situation is, as the system gets further to the island, the pressure gets pretty much less.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever it is they're going through with the system failing on them now, or they're not being able to generate that much, the amount of water to circulate the distance up to the island that they're going now. Whatever the circumstances is, and what I was telling OC this morning on the show, they should have informed the people of the island in a decent and professional way. Last week, week before when I called, I had to wait the 6 days in order to get my water. Now last week I called Thursday, now I got to wait till Wednesday again for my other top up. But the situation is, when the people ask the question, what is the reason they have to wait so long for their water, and they basically are down to nothing. The attitudes of the employers or how they answer people is unacceptable, and that is what had me so upset with the situation, because it was no one explaining to anyone. And as far as I understand, neither the big official came on Friday trying to give his little short answer to the public, Cayman Brac public, in order to comfort the people. But that is not acceptable. They have to find solutions. They have enough trucks to run the water through the place. They don't do the emergency runs no more. They stop doing the extra runs during the holidays, during the weekends. They stop that. Everything they stop, Sterling, and now the people can't get their water.
Right. Well, let me ask, because I recognize that, water is, crucial. Water is life. Yeah. I would say blood is life, but water is life, right? But your earlier comments and reflecting on the information shared by the Water Authority, they said increased demand and different issues, led to them having to make adjustments in order to keep up with the necessary supply. But your comments, some would find it to be egregious, offensive, perhaps even unjustified. Are you of the view now that there's more to the story than is being shared with the public?
It's more to the story that being shared with the public. That is what I was talking about. I was trying to say the whole issue was with the situation from the beginning was the public was not notified or informed of the situation for what was happening with the water. That's why this morning with OC I didn't ponder on it too long, because when I had to order my water 2 weeks ago, the reception that I got from that was unaccepted. I did not accept the way that they respond, as if the situation I should know about, in that kind of attitude, or however I came across. It was not acceptable for a system that should be the people relying on them.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. For that then, with what you're sharing, is it then that up until just the other day, the expectation as a customer, you would call and you say, I need 5,000 or 500, whatever the amount of gallons you want, you pay for it, you got to deliver it within a reasonable time. That was the norm in the past?
Yeah, you could call and like say you call today and say, can I order 2,000 gallons? They'll say, okay, we'll get it to you, not today, but first thing in the morning, or pretty much in a time tomorrow.
Right.
Those notifications was there.
Right.
But since this situation arose, no information was passed out to the public, general public, for us to know what was happening.
Right.
So when the public then called, when customers called for their water, it was like there was an insulting type of answer given to the people that call in for the water, and that was so wrong for people to be treated the way that they were treated and being held without information for what was going on.
Right. I mean, they did, from what you gather from the press release, share that they're going to limit initially the amount you can get at one time. Is that still in effect?
Yeah, that's still in effect.
Okay.
I mean, if you're running on 2,000 gallons and you need 1,000 gallons this week, and when they come to deliver, you can't make your next order till that water is delivered.
Right.
Then you can call the office back and say, can I get another 1,000? But now you can't get that next 1,000 till next week, the next 6 days away. So basically now, when they bring that next 6 days from now, when they bring the next 1,000, you are already empty.
Right. And they did share, I believe, from the press release that not only will they limit it, to that maximum for now, they acknowledged that, yeah, some people didn't get it, even though it might have been there on their social media or the different means, so they're trying to address that. But do you have an understanding of why there's this restriction and what's the issue with the capacity?
Well, the understanding that I get from it is that the thing about it is, Sterling, let me be careful what I say, because I only got from certain lips, certain ones, of certain things that were causing it to have this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't put that on paper and say that is true in fact. You understand? But I'm not going to say that right out on the radio to the public, but everyone is giving their own interpretations of what is going on, because the public knows nothing, and they want to leave it that way and just say, this is what's coming out from Water Authority.
Okay. And do you have any sort of indication, official otherwise, as to when it might return to what you considered normal in the past, where if you wanted 3,000 gallons or you needed, 3 orders for the week of 2,000 each, you could get it once you ordered and pay for it?
Well, Sterling, for that to happen, Water Authority, first of all, I don't know, I can't really say that they wasn't prepared, but if you ask me, they wasn't prepared for the distance that they had to get that water pushed in order for the whole country to be. They still have all the way on the south side to go. They still have to go to the other end of the north side. Then in the future, whenever that is, they still got to do the bluff.
Mm-hmm.
All of that might be taken care of by the time that all arrives. But if they're losing pressure at one end and can't supply it at the next end, I mean, I used to work for Pfizer. We had to do the math to know how much pressure you have to put out in order to get to the next end of the hose.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can't supply that, the people that need the water, because most of the people already have water connected to their homes by the line, those people that are in desperate need for their tank to be filled, Sterling, think about it. All of those that have half of the island that are already taken care of, that means you only have to take care of half of the island by using trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So how come it can't be done now and it was being done before?
So just from your casual observation, what is your take on the population in the BRAC? Has it increased significantly in the last year or two? In the sense that I'm wondering from what was shared, if there is a significant increase in demand that has maybe put a challenge on their ability to supply the quantity that needed. Do you see?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with the demand of the population that it has increased, because most of the population here that increased are staying in these homes that supplies that been supplying water tank. It ain't like they're that much homes are being built in a situation like that. The water is still the same as what it was before, and that only boils down to one thing: is the pressure is not there to supply, filling the trucks and push them through the island. That is they're coming down to. If that's the point, that is the point. But if it has something to do with population, let it be known. The people needs to know what's going on for them in order to know that they can wash their clothes, wash their vehicles, feed their plants, whatever the circumstances. The people doesn't know what's going on. Now they know. But the first couple of weeks, it was all a mystery and all of an insulting way of telling people, listen, you can only get this, you can only get that, and bam, that's it. Boom, hang the phone up. Hello, we are human. We pay them. They don't pay us. We pay them. And we have to be left behind with not knowing what's going on. We got to wonder how much gallons we got use out of it today, tomorrow, until next Thursday. Sterling, I really and truly, I mean, I see this island dwindling away year after year, and it seems like what our old man had said, it gotten like a lobster going astern all the time. Because lobster don't crawl forward, Lobster crawl backward. And that is us. We going backward all the time. We cannot seem to get ahead for going behind, because the thing about it is they have systems. And I keep telling people about that. Learn how to use the system. If they don't get the system correct, it will never get any better. It can't get any better. Because when things happen, all goes up under the table and sweep up underneath there and leave, and they say, you know what, we not business with them. We not make them bite up their gum, make them say what they want to say. When we solve things, that's it. It shouldn't be that way. This is a country that we live in, this Phelan Islands that we live in. We separated by a couple of miles of water, yeah, but we need to try to make sure that we can cover one another back when we need it covered. But it doesn't seem like we can even do that for the people of these islands. And we put representatives up inside there, and Lord Jesus, I stand more chance of seeing the Northern Lights over Cayman Brock than seeing their face. And you know, Sterling, you see the Northern Lights over the Cayman Islands, you know things will get bad.
You know, it's... Oh, my mic's on? Thanks. Could you hear me then?
I don't know. Sorry?
I was wondering if I was trying to chat. Could you hear me then, or are you not?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was talking to avoid, but thank you. Given what you shared relative to water is life, and we know that, you know, farmers in particular, but I think the farmers in the BRAC have increasingly expressed their woes about, you know, water and water supply. But do you think that on the BRAC, not only the increased demand, if there is, but do you think generally as a people that maybe we're not as conscious and as conservative when it comes to our water usage?
That the thing about it is that in here on the BRAC, especially certain part of this island, water is much more valuable than gold. Certain areas, because certain areas stay longer drought than others. Like for instance, around the Stick Bay part of the island, the middle part of the island, they get more rain. The western part gets more rain. The eastern parts are hard, but they don't get as much rain yearly. And water is more valuable than gold here. And I don't think that... Now, let me rephrase that, because I don't like to put my head on chopping blocks with no water. But if they're using water in excessive and not thinking about it, it should be boiled down to their stupidity. But I don't think in this situation that people are using water in excess, because they know that they're taking so long for them to get refilled. Water is a necessity here on this block, whether it's for us doing backyard farming or even keeping our homes running. When you got six people in a home to take a shower, you can't tell a person, listen, bathe in 4 or 5 seconds and come out.
Yeah.
Each person has one day amount of water, so
it is perhaps something to address. I mean, I can understand your frustration. I can see the challenges and, you know, supplying to meet with the demand. But then, as you shared, the communication, you know, how accurate and timely, and not just responsibly but respectfully we're sharing that information. Any other thoughts before we take the final call?
I just wanted to say one thing regarding this situation with the clearing of properties around this island. It's something that bothers me. And I know it bothers my children, because they're more into this conservation service, helping the island thing like that, the trees and things. And to see that people come around, clear their properties, and the planning department or whoever's in charge allow them to tear everything down and then try to plant back trees, that's not possible. Because the trees that they plant back, if it's a mahogany tree that they got put in the yard, it got take 10, 15 years for it to grow. They're tearing down the trees and their properties. Yeah, I can understand someone saying that my place, I can do as I please. But I mean, where is the initiatives taken for the help of this country here? This island here, when you got hurricanes coming around, the trees along the shores, they're making them chop them out, clear them off. It's no protection for the seas to come up and block anything. Push in the plan department just seem to be sleeping. I don't know how it is in Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, but I can tell you what, there's no planning system in Cayman Brock. I can tell them about that or challenge them about it for that, because I see clearly what's happening on this island, and it's only for those that their pocket is heavy, and for me, that my pocket is broke. Mm-hmm. That is who they help, the ones that shouldn't need the help. And that is what I'm hoping that these people around here cry out for, that they stop tearing down the sides of these oceans, exposing us to the elements of our seawater that are coming right across and block us in during a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, sharing your thoughts, the way you do. So, enjoy the afternoon. God's willing, talk to you tomorrow, right? All the best, man. Let's take one more. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you for holding on.
Yeah, afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Hey, afternoon.
Yeah, man. I completely agree with the last caller. Yeah, I feel it for him, and I feel it for everybody up in the Cayman. But I have one question about that, because this is not exactly what I want to talk about. Is it like that they're getting the same thing like the desalination that they're doing here in Cayman, in Grand Cayman?
I think so. Yeah, I think they have a similar system, and the move to pipe the water through the whole of Cayman has been an ongoing project.
Okay, no, because I mean, like when you said that they should be conservative with their water, like if they don't need to run the water like about 15 minutes, that's a lot of water. And but I'm not trying to make the whole entire situation complicated, because I don't live in the dark. I like what the guy was talking about, but here what I want to talk about, right? Because if you shoot a man, right, with your last bullet, let's just say, theoretically, if you shoot a man with your last bullet and he stand there unfazed, how you would feel about that, Mr. Sterling?
Sometimes we exhaust all the resources, what you're saying, and then it has no meaningful impact, right?
Yeah. Well, here I gotta read something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says decriminalization is not legalization. If the drug possession and personal use are decriminalized, it is still illegal to process and use drugs. And possesses and use of drugs. Right? Selling and manufacturing drugs still carry criminal penalties. Put simply, if a drug or drug use is decriminalized, persons are not criminalized for personal use. That's it. What about when we need to get our drugs? Let's just consider it as a drug that we need, and we are decriminalizing it, not specifying which one. Yeah, because there are avid users every day using drugs, and let's just say a particular drug is about to be decriminalized. How is that going to affect the Cayman Islands when it comes to the people that are using it versus the people that are not using it?
So what in your view then should we do? Because they're talking about decriminalizing versus legalizing, right?
Yes, sir.
So what do you think we should do?
I think we should just legalize it, because I don't think it's okay for a man my age to tell me what I can and cannot do. It's against my human rights. So you mean to tell me now it's just a privilege to smoke ganja? It's just a privilege to do anything? It's not human rights if you can take it away.
No, do you think that and as I listen to you all reading what someone else is sharing, and then I asked them, because they'd commented similar in the past, if they would sort of give me permission to share what they shared on a previous comment. But in what you're sharing, legalize versus decriminalize, two things. Are you saying then that as a country we need to understand if there's a difference, what's the difference and the implication of one versus the other? I read, heard what you just read. And then secondly, is it then more importantly that we have a better education on what is it that we're trying to achieve, what's the objective, what potentially could be the impact, good or bad, in moving forward with either legalizing, decriminalizing, or the status quo? Is that level of education and public discussion important?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I completely agree. The thing is about it, right? I won't be so upset about the decriminalization, right? if we could at least understand what decriminalizing marijuana in the Cayman Islands, because I know how decriminalization goes for everywhere in the world. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be exactly the same way here in Cayman, like how it is in United States or Venezuela, because in Venezuela they have put down a law where it's illegal. So I'm going to just emphasize this one a little bit. It's illegal for a doctor, or I don't know if it's I can't say the right word, but off my tongue. But a doctor, it is illegal for a doctor to say the cause of death is of starvation, just to lessen the starvation rate of children in the Venezuelan country. So by making it illegal, you don't hear no more of this. The cause of death is this. Same thing with COVID, how I think I like to think my mind. And I don't want to have nothing to go against what other people think, but it's what I think as well. And I think that the same reason how we used to hear about heart attacks in the Cayman Islands, we don't hear those no more. We hear about who's going to get COVID next and who's going to do that.
So what then, as I listen to you, and I appreciate the time, so I won't build there, but maybe we'll pick it up another time. But what then do we do? Is it that we are at risk of what the our elders tell us? Either we're putting the cart before the horse, or are we having a knee-jerk reaction and then sometimes closing the gate after the horse is bolted? Is that what is happening, you think? Hello? Alright, well, perhaps sometimes connections with technology, maybe that question can just linger there for a bit for us to think. Hey, thank you, sir, for calling. Not quite sure what transpired there, but maybe that's just a sign of the time, literally. As we close out, last comment from one of our listeners who writes, so I'd like to say to the callers from Cameron, we have no planning, quote unquote, just a bunch of board members who hand out approvals to destroy mangroves, build out our shorelines, until we will soon won't have a glimpse of the sea. Not so slowly. Everything that we once knew is being taken away. Successive governments have allowed this, and this one is no different. Thank you all for sharing. It's good to be back. Thanks again to Catherine Ray for sitting and allowing me to very, comfortably take a few days off and get some planned works around the place. Maybe I'll take a little more time off in a few months to complete. Please join us again tomorrow for more Talk Today. The excellent company of Dr. Alexandra Borden to sit in the studio. Some interesting things unfolding throughout the week. For those who like talking about the weather, well, there might be something that is going to happen that you might want to be a part of. Thursday and Friday will be equally as exciting. Well, thank you again. Let's live in this land of sunshine. Let's look at it as a way that we can work together to make it better. Let's appreciate that if we want something done, we sometimes have to do it and be willing to stand in the gap. Other times, it's good to be quiet. If in our pensive silence we're reflecting with an intent to be positive and productive. But sometimes, you need to stand like a father, in front of the child to lead the way, to clear the path. And sometimes, you need to be there just behind, nurturing and encouraging, showing a sense of support. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District